The Bear Season 4 review. We are back once again. No long 2-year delays. We're right back at it with The Bear. Season 3 was last year. You can go check out all my reviews for The Bear Seasons 1, 2, and 3. And man, I love this series so much. So near and dear to my heart, man. It's such a wonderful time whenever The Bear comes back and they drop all the episodes in all of its glory. So stay tuned. If you're new, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Please. And I'm gonna do my best to kind of just give you my thoughts on this overall season and my overall ranking, or how I would score this, or how does this compare to the previous seasons. So we pick up right where the last season left off. Carmy is dealing with a lot. He has a lot on his plate, and I like how this season starts with a conversation between Carmy and Michael, and them talking about the restaurant, and also bringing up their father, which fathers get brought up a lot. That seems to be one of the main themes of this season that gets kind of touched on continuously. So I think they're going to still wait out on showing who Carmy's father is. Let me know in the comments below who you think they would cast, because The Bear hands down has the best surprise castings and stuff like that. You had Danielle Detweiler pop up in episode 5. Phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? You had some reoccurring characters that we saw back in season 2. Sarah Paulson comes back as Michelle. Also, they put out originally the runtime for all these episodes, and episode 7 is the longest, and we're gonna get into all that. So yeah, like I said, Carmy's kind of dealing with a lot. This ended up being like a kind of a dream sequence for Carmy, and this happens with other characters like Sydney. She has her own kind of dream sequence. We see a little flash of it at the beginning, and they kind of go more into that in episode 8. So kind of bringing things back to Carmy, this wouldn't be The Bear if they didn't have to deal with some type of obstacle, right? Now the theme, or just what's going on with this, where in season 3 they set up to where Carmy wants to get a star, and if he gets a star, that will change everything for the restaurant. But unfortunately, Cicero and the computer come by and say shit ain't looking good. This is a time clock. This is how much time we have left until we have to shut down shop and kind of think of different things of how we're going to move forward. And this puts a lot of pressure on Carmy, and Carmy is in a completely different headspace in this season. And where it goes, it's pretty interesting. And it's a really good setup. I like the first episode, just kind of just giving us the vibes. So then we get into episode 2 and beyond, where Sydney is still kind of dealing with the situation of where should she kind of abandon ship, even though the ship is already kind of sinking, or do I stay loyal to people that I consider family? And she's been kind of dealing with this since season 3, really sooner than that. Honestly, I would say since season 2, really. You know what I'm saying? It's just that she has these two options, and she doesn't know really which way to kind of lean. Now they had to kind of bring in some new people. We got some of Terry's people, Jessica and them. Jessica is definitely going to be Richie's love interest going into season 5. They've been kind of teasing that since they introduced her character, so that's going to be interesting. You also have Carmy dealing with making things right with Claire, and that didn't get settled in season 3, which I'm kind of glad that they kind of didn't rush into it. They kind of made it feel more natural, kind of getting it like this. And Carmy tries to fix things between him and Claire, and it doesn't really go really well. And he makes a call, making some adjustments to his partnership agreement, but we don't find out until later on. But this is one of the obstacles, similar to in like season 3, where he had to kind of deal with the guy that kind of gave him all these traumas, the ulcers and stuff like that, the Joel McHale's character and stuff like that. So fixing things between him and uh, Claire is another thing that he has to deal with. But now to some of my favorite episodes. We got like some of my favorite back-to-back episodes, starting with episode 5, where we get introduced to Danielle Detweiler's character. I think I'm drawing a blank on her name. I saw it in the context, but that's we're just gonna call her Auntie for the sake of this review. And she's doing Sydney's hair. She also has a daughter named TJ, and this was a really great fucking episode as well. Just TJ's dealing with trying to fit in with her friends at school, not knowing if she wants to do this sleepover. And I love how this sleepover kind of turns into an analogy of what she's kind of going through in her own kind of mind. I thought that was really fucking brilliant and really dope to kind of see that. And just this being Sydney's kind of episode, just solely focusing on her. And then just to kind of rip the rug underneath us with episode 6, starting the episode off with her finding out her father had a heart attack. I'm just like, man, not this right now. That ended up being like the shortest episode 6. And thank God he's able to kind of pull through. And Claire was there as well, and thank God Claire was there. She was able to kind of have a moment with Sydney and get Sydney to kind of laugh and kind of up her spirits a little bit. And you just kind of see Sydney just kind of going through the motions, man, going through it, straight just going through it. And then we finally get to what we kind of been building up to for this season. One of the subplots is Tiffany's wedding. That's Richie's baby mom's, you know what I'm saying? And I love this episode. I thought this episode is definitely an all-timer. You know what I'm saying? It's up there with fishes, forks, napkins, you name it. You know what I'm saying? Doors, it's up there. I love this episode. This just showcased the family and just how close the Bears are with one another, and just kind of making Frank feel welcome, because he just doesn't know how to be a father, you know what I'm saying, like Richie is. And them trying to get this little girl out from underneath this table. I was just sitting to myself like, yo, who else is going to pop up underneath this table? And I also like that Lee and Carmy were able to kind of squash their shit, because we find out that Lee and Michael, they kind of squashed their shit before he passed. Donna also shows up. Of course, Donna doesn't like to stay long, but that goes into something. You know what I'm saying? It was a really good, heartfelt episode. Carmy and Claire are finally able to kind of squash shit between them and become a thing once again. And just the wedding just ended up being really successful and well done. But then, you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't be the Bear if they didn't just kind of just hit you with a gut punch or two. And then we get into the last 3 episodes. Episode 8, we get into this like fever dream that Sydney has, and it's a really interesting, artistic, cinematic, dope way just to kind of depict this and just what's going through her mind and whatnot. And we also see that Marcus is trying to deal with meeting his father as well. he also kind of got sidelined, I would say, for the most part, even though he did get like best new chef or whatnot. Ibrahim also has his own kind of subplot with this guy Albert, which I feel like is going to play a bigger part going into season 5 as far as expansion and them trying to keep the restaurant afloat. So I'm gonna just leave it there. Also, Tina's trying to find her kind of thing as well. Not too much going on with her, but Sydney, going back to Sydney, she finally makes her decision and she decides to stay with Carmy and everybody. And she really kind of starts to see old boy's true colors that were trying to recruit her. And he was kind of a little suspect as well. He was a little weird. He didn't have nothing ready. He wasn't trying to give her no type of partial ownership or anything like that. So good for her for making that decision. You know what I'm saying? But then we get to like episode 9, which is definitely another one of my favorites, where we finally get Carmy and Donna to kind of sit down and have a talk with one another. And man, Jamie Lee Curtis once again kills it, because in season 3 she did the same thing with Nat. Now she's doing the same thing with Carmy, just kind of just letting it all loose, just how she feels and how she's trying to get better as a person, giving up alcohol, just wanting to be there. She just blames herself for the death of Michael and just everything going wrong with her kids and just everything in general. And Carmy ends up cooking for her. That was just amazing. But then the finale happens, and I feel like this was such an intense finale that was just kind of building up for 4 seasons now. Everything that Sydney has been going through and enduring, it's all kind of come to this clash where she finds out that Carmy takes his name off of the partnership. It just puts Nat and Sydney there, and she's thinking like, oh, you're just gonna leave and just put this all on me. And it just turns into this huge fucking fight, and we get to the point where Carmy wants to just leave. He feels like this would be the best thing for him, is if he kind of steps away and gives the keys to Sydney, because she's always been his apprentice. And even now with Richie coming into the play, you already know how personal this restaurant is to him, and these two almost like kind of throw hands, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't get to that. It gets to the point where they kind of calm down and they come up with the new partnership thing, to where now it's got to be Nat, Richie, and Sydney and Jimmy, and I'm curious to see how that's going to play out for season 5. That maybe we don't see Carmy for that much. Well, we'll probably see him. He'll probably be doing something else, and he'll pretty much come back. But what I want to know is, how much longer can the bear go on? I feel like we are getting towards the end. I could definitely see a scenario where season 5 could be the very last season, because like I said, he's kind of gone through all these different hurdles, and he's kind of made amends and fixes certain things. I think they're going to end this series with him getting a star. Let me know how you guys feel about this season. I thought this season was phenomenal. Like, for me, I feel like The Bear has no bad episodes, no bad seasons. There's episodes that I like more than others, but everything kind of really matters, and I really enjoyed this even more than season 3. I think this season is better than season 3 for sure. It had a lot more going on. The themes of fathers and being a parent, or just being present, or just caring about your employees, or just dealing with the ugliness of owning a restaurant, the ugliness you have to kind of deal with, the backstabbingness nature of it, of people trying to just steal, snatch people up, and just the family and all of this show is just what really makes it click for me. But let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments below. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.